What's going on, man? I haven't talked to you in a while since like before Strive. Anyway, we got some other reaction videos today. We got some other reaction video. On another note, been a minute. What is this one? Jack O'Mains in a nutshell. Oh, I saw this video this morning actually.
二人で戦えばわかる?
That's funny as shit, bro. I'm gonna be getting your passport. You ain't got no felonies. You know, it's actually crazy how many Americans don't have a passport. You know you could just. I see everyone got issues with the NA players nowadays. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Kizzie. I don't got no issue with the NA players. I just feel like, and if you're coming in like right after the Hotashi segment that we did, that was some fuck shit, dog. That was some fuck shit, like straight up. Like, you gotta call a spade a spade. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like, for those who don't know, when I did live in America with my wife, who's French, I used to work with a lot of celebrities in marketing and PR and stuff like that, right? One thing you gotta realize is that when you reach a certain level, you are in fact a public figure, and you gotta be a little bit more responsible with how you talk and how you move. Like, I'm sorry, it's just a fact. Like, even if you're a Twitch streamer, when you reach like the 1,000 viewer mark, you gotta be more responsible. No, EU folks are. No, I'm gonna keep it real with you. British motherfuckers are some dicks. Most EU folks are actually pretty chill. Yeah, not everyone have the skill set for that. Yeah, I mean, you have to though. Some people get it by accident. That's true, but like you gotta move a little bit more responsibly. You know what I mean? You got to move a little bit more responsibly because, you know, with great clout comes great responsibility. Feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm in A. I was born in Washington, D.C., dog. You know, I grew up in D.C., lived in New York, lived in Atlanta, been to L.A. a bunch of times. You know what I mean? Like, I understand, right? But, like, we gotta call a spade, dog. I mean, it doesn't matter if you got the skill, and it doesn't matter if you got there by accident. You know what I mean? Like, we got to call a spade, right? If we want the FGC to grow, motherfuckers is going to need to act a little bit more responsibly. You know, it ain't that hard to not be a dick. I'm sorry. It's just not. It is not that hard to not be a dick. Now, if there's some underlying conditions, like, for example, my son has autism, right? So, like, sometimes he'll act fine. Sometimes, you know, his autism will kick in and, you know, he'll act like an asshole. You know what I mean? So, but if there's no underlying condition and you're just gassed up, like, all right, so Kizzie, quick recap of the Hotashi segment since you're here and you probably didn't see we covered it. Bash asked a question to Hotashi, basically asking him, hey, I don't know when EVO Online is happening. I've looked everywhere. I've asked a lot of other streamers. I'm not sure when EVO Offline is happening. Hotashi read that comment out and said, use a bitch. Oh, you was here for all of the segments? You was here for your segment too? Well, we'll talk about that in a second as well. So you were here for that. Okay, so we don't need to go over it. But, I mean, at the same time, like, you got to understand, that it's all fine. And, like, I'm going to keep it real with you. In America, success happens pretty randomly, right? We can all agree with that. We can all agree with that, right? Sometimes people just fucking get a deal. I've worked with a lot of motherfuckers who just happen to fucking get a deal, who just happen to get popping on YouTube, who just happen to do this, or happen to do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you're not going to be successful for too long if that's your attitude. You know what I mean? You're not going to be successful for too long. Right? Like, if you want to maintain your, and whether you got the skill for it or not, I don't think it's a skill. I think it's just acting like a decent human being. Right? It's just being a decent person. Like, it's not hard to be a decent person unless you have some underlying personality disorder or some sort of underlying mental disorder. Now, if that's the case, that's a different story, right? You know what I mean? That's a different story. But like, it's kind of like I'm sorry, like there's no excuse for that kind of behavior. The Sonic Perfect Legend situation as well. I also feel like that was pretty toxic behavior as well. Like, I'm sorry, it's just straight toxic. Like, I understand that Sonic is like, hey, PL, how you gonna let this rock? But at the same time, there are people in Sonic's chat doing equally toxic things. And nobody's saying, hey, Sonic, you gonna let this rock? You can't call out one person for doing one thing or one person for having a certain type of discourse in their comment section, which we all know how comment sections are. Like, my channel ain't even that fucking big, and I got toxic motherfuckers in my comment section all day. Some people, we cannot hold people accountable with no skill set, but see, that's the kind of toxic behavior. That's the kind of mentality that leads to motherfuckers being toxic as fuck. That's the kind of behavior that leads to, with that excuse, anyone can be a dick and just say that they don't have the skill set to be a decent person. Like, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. I'm sorry. Like, I will never accept that as an excuse. I cannot ever accept that. That's just cap. Like, that's like the fucking what's that guy's name? Kevin Spacey. That's like if fucking R. Kelly went on. Yo, where's that R. Kelly clip? Where's that R. Kelly clip, bro?
Do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
Like, what if R. Kelly went on with Gail and was like, I don't know how to treat women any other way. I don't have the skill set to treat women any other way than to lure them into my mansion, tie them up in my sex dungeon, and piss on them. Yeah, it's all fine not to have good people skills, but to just straight up bully motherfuckers, bro? But to just straight up bully people, though? Like, come on. Nah. No way, though. If I was to do that shit, I would be canceled in a heartbeat, bro. I would be canceled in a heartbeat if I was to ever do that shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're held to a higher standard, period. You're held to a higher standard. And this is the reason why I've been going in on a lot of NA folks, including you, Kizzie. This is the reason, because I'm going to tell you, Kizzie, I have been watching your videos for a very long time. A very long time. I remember when I got into Guilty Gear about a year ago, you were the person that I was studying. You know what I mean? You were the person I was studying. And I studied you because I saw that you were a student of the game. You took the time to really understand every situation, try to fight your way out in unadvantageous situations. But then I start seeing your Strive content. And then I look at your Strive content and I'm hearing a lot of stuff that is just frankly not true. You know, like, I'm not going to cap and say I'm the best player in the world. If we were to run the set, you would wash me. If we were to run the Chimera right now, you would fucking wash the shit out of me. I'm not a tournament player. I'm a TO. But at the same time, I took what I learned from you was to go in and lab every single fucking thing, right? You know what I mean? I went into Strive. I labbed everything. I figured out how to make Kai viable. I put the shit up on Twitter. I see people using that tech now. I see Chihuahua using a lot of that stuff. You know, I see what's his face, Hollow Haven. When I watch you play, it feels like you're not all the way confident in the abilities that Kai has. Either that or you're not sure. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's easy to say that from an outsider looking in because I'm not in the game and I know what it's like in the game, right? But at the same time, I feel like also with you having as much clout as you have now, I think you also need to be a little bit more responsible with some of the takes that you have. Like I don't really have too much of an issue with you, Kizzie. Like I understand what you're going through. Like I get it. Like it's a new game. It's a new game. You're trying to figure it out. You know, it's a new game. You're trying to figure stuff out. You know, you're trying to like make stuff work. You're playing different characters. So you can explain yourself. You said that the game felt rushed. You said that the game felt rushed. And I was kind of like, I don't think the game is rushed, like, at all. Like, I actually really like the game, you know, in comparison to other Guilty Gears. Like, my favorite Guilty Gears Plus are, actually. You know, yeah, it was. They pushed it back. It would be easier to do over voice chat. You want to hop in voice chat, Kizzie, in my server? For 3 years? All right, hold on a second. Exclamation point Discord. There you go. There's the link. Let's go to I'm gonna give you the co-host role so we can be in the lock channel. In the commentators booth channel. Or the interview channel, actually. So when you join, let me know and I give you the role. Oh, you're already here. Nice. Alright, let me give you the role real quick. Hold on a second. Strive. Co-host. Alright, meet me in the interview channel. This makes me happy. This is great. This is fucking great. I wish more fucking people would do this shit. You know? Hey. Hello? Can you hear me?
What's up?
Good. Hold on. Let me turn you up real quick. What time is it for you right now?
Well, it's 2 a.m. I just got done doing some work, so.
Oh, yeah. Feel you on that.
Yeah.
Fucking late shit. All right. So I was saying, like, the take of the game being rushed. I felt like in order for them to announce it when they did, which was like, what, 2019? They had to have already been working on it. And then they rebuilt the engine, rebuilt the graphics engine, redid the netcode, and then they pushed it back mostly because of COVID. Like, they probably could have had it out in like 2020 instead of 2021. But, you know, the COVID work protocols and stuff forced them to push it back. Why do you think it was rushed?
I mean, you could just look at the bugs. I mean, there's a bug that is like active in the game that is very dynamic, that changes a lot of the atmosphere of the match. Like, for example, purple
Oh,
beat.
yeah, the PRC bug with the super?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, all of that, like all of the RC not scaling damage, even though you're in the slowdown. There's so many bugs off like dust where if you do like random encounters in the air, the game just glitches out.
True.
You know, like
But I mean,
most
can
of
you
the-
but I mean, can you say that those are just vanilla bugs though? Because I mean, every game is
no,
every
no.
game is kind of shipping with bugs nowadays, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
but
kind of like the thing.
that's like a point A to point B. Like, why is it that if I do a charge dust and super in the air, and if I get off screen, it cancels it? Like that is like
Mm,
that seems so unfinished to me.
yeah, true.
Like that's like they haven't thought about somebody doing dust super.
Hmm.
Like that's how rushed it was. Like even in all the other games, if you ever do dust, you always get to finish the super.
Yeah.
But because you're in the air and you do super, it just cancels out and you just land. Like nothing happened. I feel like that shows a lot if to me, as a person who, you know, tested out games and things like that, that shit looks unfinished. And
Hmm.
then let's talk about even just the character designs
Hmm.
overall. Like you see a lot of characters that, you know, for example, have, you know, wall bounce 6Ps.
Hmm.
You have a lot of characters that also have dash cancel jump Ds. You also have a lot of characters that have like very polished normals, hitboxes, hurt boxes. And then you also got to look at like, you know, how like the properties work on like each interaction for like their tool set. and then you look at one character and it's like, oh, they don't have any
Yeah,
of
they don't
that.
have that at all, right?
And for me, that's for me seems like that's unfinished. That is an
I
unfinished
mean,
product.
for me personally, that just feels like day one fighting games. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
so
that's
so
just
let's
kind
talk
of like.
about outside. So let's talk about outside of the game then. Okay,
Mhm.
we if
All
we're
right.
gonna use that, let's talk about outside of the game. So
Mhm.
you remember how they were hyping up the team battle for the PlayStation side? What
Yeah.
happened to that?
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck
There's
happened to
nothing
that
on
shit.
that. Let's talk about MOM mode. What happened to the single player content? So you're telling people to just buy the game and only think the only time they could play the game is to play offline. I mean, play online, and all we get is a story mode for 5 hours, and all we get is arcade mode. What you remember when you said? You remember when they said, "Yo, if you play story mode, you get to choose the directions and the sides of where you want to go and the characters you fight, and then you get unique interactions and stuff that is related to the story." What
Yeah,
happened to
that's
that?
that's not there
Yeah,
either.
what happened to that?
But I
It's
think
not
what
there.
they focused on, I don't. But see, here's the thing: like, I don't consider that to be rush because it's like I played Rainbow Six when it came out. I played Destiny 2 when it came out. I played MK when it came out. And a lot of these games nowadays, in this era of gaming, this is just how games ship. Like, that doesn't mean it's rushed. That just means what they do is they just focus on the core gameplay experience first, which we have to admit is fun. Like, the core gameplay experience of Strive is fun, in my opinion, at least. So, like, if that's okay, then I'm willing to wait for the rest of the stuff because that's just how it is nowadays. Like, we
But
can't
that's
control
but
that,
that
right?
but that's unfinished though, to a certain degree. Like they advertise that this is what we're gonna get. They
That
advertise.
that is true. They did advertise it, but see, like I said, my whole concept, my whole thought process here is just it's fine that they advertise it, but we all know what we're gonna get. You know, like
I didn't know that. I honestly thought we were getting something. I was like, yo, I literally was telling people like, yo, imagine like getting in a public lobby and your team battle with your homie, and then
yeah, I
I
mean, I
get
would
the
love team
game.
battle, but they
Yeah,
did say that
but
they were
that's
gonna
what I'm.
drop that eventually, but I don't expect all that stuff.
They
I
said that
just I
they said it was gonna be Sony exclusive, and then it was gonna come out later
on
on
PC,
PC.
yeah, but then they dropped
Yeah,
same time,
we
yeah.
Yeah, and then we don't even have any of that. So now they're now saying they're going to drop it at the same time. To me, that sounds rushed.
I agree. I can see your perspective on that. I can totally now see your perspective on that situation because like you were marketed something and you expect to get what you were marketed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Which makes sense, right?
we don't even have a combo trial mode.
True. Facts.
You go into the game and like no one knows combos.
That is
Like
true.
you literally go to trial mode and they teach you one wall break combo and that's it.
That is
And they
true.
don't even tell you about the wall break system. So I went through the
Yeah, and they
tutorial
also
mode,
yeah,
I went to
that's
the
another
trial,
issue. That's
I
actually an
went to
issue
the
I have
weapon mode.
personally is the
I
fact.
legitly, I legitly went through all of these modes, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Damn, man, I can't imagine a person getting into this game actually trying to learn because
Mhm.
you literally have to learn from the people that you watch, and there's not a lot of people who are
Or
good
Twitter
teachers."
tech, yeah, or
Yeah,
Twitter
and then I
tech or
literally
whatever the
said
fuck.
this. I was like, "This shit is unfinished. We don't even have frame data."
Facts. That's a big one. That's one of my issues
Yeah,
too. Personally, we
so
don't got
that's
frame
why
data.
I'm
We don't know
saying,
wall break mechanic really well. You know, like
yeah,
sometimes you get a random ass wall break and then you want to buffer super, but you already buffer something else, and it's like, well, guess I don't get that
yeah.
advantage then. You know what I mean?
They also said that FD and Justifin wasn't going to change frame advantage, and then they snuck that in,
Yeah,
and
they
then
snuck
all
it
of a
in that it
sudden
does
they
change
didn't.
frame
No one
advantage a
talked
little
about
bit.
it. No
Yeah.
one talked about it. That sounds to me. That sounds like they're just mashing on shit, and they
Hmm.
don't know what they want. That's what it sounds like to me from a person that actually test games out, and I actually worked with consult other companies and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I could already see that this game they definitely was on a clock and they had no choice but to drop it, and they were like,
Hmm.
well, as long as we have single player, at least we have some single player to deliver, and then we have a workable netcode, it should be fine. And then they roll with that, and it was like, well, we're just gonna work with this.
Well,
That's still
that
to
logic
me,
makes a lot of sense. I gotta say.
yeah.
So there you go. I mean,
And to me,
that
that's
may.
still unfinished though. You're still giving me 70% of what you promised me.
All right. Well, I'm convinced. Chad, are you guys convinced? I'm convinced. So yeah, that's actually solid logic. So there you go.
Yeah.
We
So
gotta
that's why I say
we gotta
it's
take back
unfinished.
the cap. We gotta take back the cap.
Yeah. I legitimately say it's unfinished because They promised me a lot of stuff, and not even me. They promised people who are playing the game, that bought the game, that first started. People who came to me who first started Strive. They were like, I told them, I was like, man, it sucks. You guys don't even have single player content besides arcade mode. The
Facts.
best thing you got is Super Nago, and then after that, that's it. There's no unique super other character. There's no super Kai. There's no super Soul.
Yeah, EX
Nothing.
character. Yeah,
No, nothing. All you get is Nago.
that is true. It's a facts.
And I'm like, bro, this is the most like, man, they just threw the game in and just like, here we go. And it's just like, that's crazy.
You know, the chat is
But
keeping a cap meter now. They said Meta 1 cap, Kizzie 0 caps.
nah, like, like when I talk about stuff, I definitely keep in mind not only my perspective, but also keep it from the broader audience perspective, because I know my perspective is not obsolete. It's not
I would say the
perfect.
video edits probably don't do you justice because it just like makes a statement with nothing following it up. So like when I
Well,
watch the video, it's like I'm like, but where is he getting this information from? Like where is he getting this opinion from? Like I don't understand. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to understand. This is the thing that it works nowadays. Is as the time progresses, there's always the average person attention span has decreased every
Facts.
year.
Yep.
So I can't sit there and make something for I know for people who are going to, like the minorities
The
to
analytical
basically.
players and shit
Yeah,
who
exactly.
yeah, who wanna yeah.
You guys know who I am. You guys know where y'all could go get the free content. I'm not on a paywall, so you
Mhm.
just go on my Twitch and then boom, watch it for free. No sub included. Like free sub or no sub, you could watch my shit. It's not a paywall behind it or anything.
Mhm.
So like I also gotta be smart with the game, but I'm
Mhm.
also pretty
You gotta
logical of
also
what I'm
be
saying.
entertaining as well at the same
Yeah,
time.
and I'm
Yeah.
logical of what I'm saying. Like I know I really think about what I say, and
Mhm.
I don't talk through emotion. I mean,
Got it.
I
Okay.
laugh it out, and I legitly tell people like, yeah,
You know,
this is why I see things.
I don't know if you were there for that segment when you were talking to your chat and I was agreeing and I was like where I think it was a soul situation where you were like if I read I forget which one it was. I think it was 6S and you
Yeah,
do like and you counter hit it with like what is it? Far slash, Kai's far slash and a stun dipper. It's like I get 64 fucking damage. Like what do I get from that? The risk on that is so high and the chat was like, "Oh, but just do this and just do that." I really like those segments. Like I watched the stream for that one, right? And I was like, "Yo, like he's 100% correct situation, right?" So, the next thing I want to talk about is like the takes you have with Kai, right? So I've watched some of your Kai gameplay. Like I watched the set with Deb, and I can agree. Like I don't know what you could have done there, honestly, in that situation, because Deb was going ham. I don't know what you could have done, honestly. Like I even told Chad, I was like, I don't think Kizzie played bad here. I just don't know what he could have did in these situations because you can't just YOLO DP. You can't just YOLO do this, YOLO do that, because then Deb's gonna counter hit you for like 1,000,000 damage, right? So it's like what do you think? Like, I want to hear you clarify like how you feel about Kai in the way, in the ways you think that he's like either weak or not that great. Because I personally think that he's like minimum A plus, minimum, maybe B under if you were to do like a high low estimate. But B is like my lowest tier for me personally, and I think all the tiers are pretty close. So like, I want to hear your thoughts on like how you feel about Kai overall. You know.
I feel like uh, Kai is as complete as the system mechanic in the game, which is not really complete at all. I feel like he does have a lot of great things about him, but the problem is, it's like it's always a yeah, but it's just not enough. Yeah, this is great, but it's also just not enough.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
this is pretty nice, but it's also not enough because all of his good things don't lead to things. It don't lead to point A to point B. It just goes to point A, and then you
Make
have
it
to
go to
drift
point B.
and
You
match
gotta.
your way to point B. Yeah, you can't just smooth way your way in. Other characters do that. So point A to point B. You know,
Yeah, I
like
agree with that. Like you can knock you
point
get a
A to point
knockdown with Kai, but then at the same time, you got to mix them again to get the wall break, right? Like you gotta find another way to open them up again. You have them in the
Well, it's
corner,
more
and
of
they have
just
like
like
a lot of ways to get out. You know.
it's more of just like, like stun dipper on counter hit don't work.
True.
That always been like a sole thing for all of the Guilty Gear games. And now all of a sudden this game, counter hit stun dipper don't work anywhere on the range. And that literally is the problem. It's like because those things don't work, you have no way of like there's no point A to point B. I mean, another issue too is yeah, he has like all these sick Gatlings with like 5P into 6H, but how is that so great when it doesn't work on characters who have fast normals? Now you're getting counter hit when you do a jab because everything is so minus in this game and
I mean,
everything has a huge gap. There's so many issues that
but
it's
he
like,
has other
oh,
frame traps that are pretty good though. Like he has some really good frame traps, I think. But like I do agree that like
I mean, you know
5P
who else have
2K
good.
into 6H is all right. Like it doesn't do anything. You know what I mean?
I mean, like his frame traps are good and all, but like, what is it going? What is his frame trap going to do to you mid screen?
Yeah, nothing. Unless you do ride the lightning. That's the only thing, really.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
that's the issue. It's like it's only good when you're already at point B. Wait, how are you going to get to point B? That's the problem that I've been saying. It's like he don't get you to point A to point B. He gets you to point A, and then you
So
got to scramble your way to get to point B.
so what do you think Kai needs? Because I think he needs an overhead. Other than Dust. I
I,
think
I actually don't think the overhead is. I don't think he needs it, to be honest. I think what he needs, but I just think all his toolkits to get tuned up to the point where he's actually uh, a well-rounded character, because he's not a well-rounded character right now. He's actually a very tunnel vision character, and that's when you get 50 meter, you burn super and you get the wall break.
mhm,
And if you don't do that, then you don't win because you can't kill your opponent because you don't do any damage.
it is true. I mean, he gets good damage in the corner as well, but that also relies on
That,
you doing
yeah,
some
but that's
crazy
how you gonna.
RC shit or,
Yeah,
like
you're talking from like point B.
yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, exactly. From
like,
having meter, having advantage, but
yeah,
getting
exactly.
getting that advantage is tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I can
that's the problem.
100%
It's
agree
like
with that.
every time you have a like a counter argument with me, it's like you're talking from point B already. But like how are we gonna get there?
That is true.
That's been the biggest thing that
Yeah,
I've
because
always.
Soul gets there just off one combo, right? Like he's
Yeah,
already in
you
his
got
win
to point A
condition.
to point B off of one button, and like there you go.
Yeah, he's already in his win condition off one combo. He makes you block something, that's his win condition. All of that shit. So I definitely agree. It feels like Soul is definitely probably the reason why we probably think Soul might be broke is because he's probably the most fleshed out character. You know?
Yeah, he's the most finished character.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that it's like one thing that I would like to see from a lot of NA influencers is that I kind of want to see people try to make it work. Like that's the thing. Like we all know what the issues are, right? But at the same time, like I kind of want to see people like make it work. Like that's just my thing as like a viewer. This is like from a viewer point of view now. Like
Okay, so I respect that, and from a viewer standpoint, the game is completely different from the
yeah,
player standpoint, and
exactly.
y- and you also have to acknowledge that because from a viewer standpoint, there's a lot of things that uh may not go through the person's mind when playing. That's what the player has to deal with, tolerating something in the match. Like
Oh
there's some
yeah, I
things
mean, I'm
that
I'm
you
fully
should.
aware of that. Like that was my
If,
experience with
if
Mortal
I'm
Kombat. It's like people are like, oh, just stand one anti-air that. It's like, but if I stand one anti-air and he jumps a little bit too high, I get counter hit and then I get hit with fatal blow. And it's like you're as a player, you're thinking about so many different things, right? You know? About so
yeah,
many
and
different situations that could happen that, it's like as a viewer, you're just like, well, just 6P it, bro. You know? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I just think like the biggest issue is that because this game is incomplete, I feel like that it's very hard for me to play an incomplete character because he is not fully polished yet.
So is
And
there a character you're looking at right now? I saw you were doing Nago here and there, Leo. Is there a
I
character
mean,
you're like interested in?
I mean, I'm still playing them because I like the character a lot, and I'm also playing Zato. You know, I
Mhm.
like those characters a lot. Those characters make me enjoy the game a lot,
Mhm.
and you know, it's pretty fun. It brings a part of the game that I really like about Guilty Gear, which got me into the game. But yeah, like you know, like I can't sit there and play an incomplete character when you know I'm playing in an online environment and everyone's playing like these complete characters, and
Yeah, it's
I'm
tough.
over here. I'm defenseless because the game is unfinished.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I would say like because you're in a position of influence, I think that you know, like I said, my perspective is this: we know the game's unfinished. We know all games ship unfinished at this point. You know, but I also feel like if you're in a position of influence, I think that either you need to switch to a finished character and just like play the game or just play something else, because at the same time it's like when I come to a Kizzie stream, I'm expecting like a certain type of experience, right? Like I want to see the scholar. Like I think that's like kind of like the brand you've created for yourself, right? Is like the scholar of the game, right? So it's like at the same time, like if you're gonna choose to play Kai, like I want to see you try to make it work with Kai. Like we get what the issues are at this point, right? It's like either and that was something that I had to do for myself as well, because like when I first started playing Kai, I said all the same shit, like oh man, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking make it work. Like I'm just gonna fucking sit here and I'm gonna figure out a way to make it work. I'm gonna figure out a way to outplay motherfuckers, and I still lose. Like I still lose all the fucking time, but at the same time, I win a lot as well. So it's like at the same time, it's kind of like when people watch me play Kai, it's not to like watch me win, it's to watch me like make it work with Kai. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, in this situation with Kai in the current build of the game, you could do X, Y, and Z. Because I do feel like there is counterplay, even if the counterplay is not fucking great, which I will agree with you. Like a lot of Kai's counterplay options are fucking horrible, but you still got to do them. You know what I mean? Like you got to throw the Hail Mary out there sometimes. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think what to answer the first thing you said is like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, playing something else. I mean, I do like Strive. I like the game a lot. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of things that I like, and you know, there are flaws to the things that I like too. And because I like the game a lot, I want the game to be very good. So I'm going to voice the things that I feel like the game needs to improve for me to enjoy the game within a year, within 2 years. So I want to play the game. I'm not going to stop playing the game because, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I think Strive can be one of the best fighting games out in 2 years when it's finished.
True.
So I'm just sitting here waiting on the train.
Yeah, you're just
Uh,
waiting for the patch.
yeah, I mean, not even the patch. I'm waiting for like the
No,
revamp.
that's the Sonic Soul meme, by the way.
Yeah,
Just wait for the
like
patch.
I'm just like I'm waiting for them to tell me we have now finished the game. Like I'm to see what they can offer because yeah, I think the game has potential. So I'm not gonna stop playing it. But I also have to keep in mind too that if I'm playing an unfinished character and I'm sitting here going in training mode and all of these situations are unfinished, I mean, what can I do?
That
I
is
mean, it's
true. Yeah.
unfinished.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
I could sit there and think of all of these theories, but the theories will always be unfinished.
that is
So
true.
how can I sit there and keep playing a character if all I get is to be continued? I
Yeah.
can't.
I mean, I can see it 100% from that perspective as well. I
Like
can I
how can I bring my best self when I can't even complete myself because I'm stuck on all of these unfinished situations? How can somebody fully enjoy something when they can't finish something because you're limited because the game was rushed?
Well, there you go. I mean, it seems like the issue is just it seems like the overall issue is simply just, like what you said. The game is unfinished. You're trying to play the game, but the game is unfinished. And a lot of people are saying in the chat, this is how I feel about Anji. This is how I feel about this character, that
I mean,
character.
yeah, Anji
Yeah.
is unfinished. You should while you're on YouTube right now, you should watch the Anji trailer, bro.
Oh yeah,
And
we
then you
did. We did that. We did that the other day. Actually, that shit was
all right.
hilarious.
So seeing that and then seeing what Andre is right now, you cannot look into the stream right now and legitimately tell people that this game is finished.
Oh no, we had that conversation yesterday. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had that.
like
We had
that's
that
what
whole convo yesterday about the Anji
that's
trailer.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like they literally changed the game on the fly
Yeah, I mean,
because we
Kai
don't
had air
know.
combos in his trailer, right? Like he had fucking exert air combos in his trailer.
Yeah,
You know, so
dude. Like I said, like, and then all of a sudden, like air combos are so like
yeah,
so.
Soul has air combos. Millie has got air combos, but Kai doesn't get air
Mary has
combos.
air
Like,
combos. You know what I'm saying? Like Giovanna has air combos. Like, and then all these other characters, they just like, oh, we're so afraid of having air combos, so we're gonna make the gravity so weird. Like, you remember when Nago had 5K loops, and then they
yep.
took that away
Oh yeah,
immediately?
the 5K loops were hype in the beta.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these companies are like this company is so afraid of like things like that,
You know
and I
what they're
don't
afraid
understand
of,
why.
and this is my hypothesis, right? This is the hope that I'm having for Arxis because I'm pretty hopeful for Arxis because Arxis has been good with updates in the past, like giving people what they want, or like, you know, even Maximilian Do said it, like they would give you the game for like a year and be like, this is just what the game is for a year, and then after that, take community back. But we're getting a patch like 2 months after release, right? So like, I feel like Arxis has been very good at building a base game and then making it good with every patch. You know what I mean? So that's part of the reason why I'm not so worried about Strive per se, as like with MK, where we never really got a real fucking balance patch for MK. You know, they just kind of let the top 5 be the top 5 for like 2 fucking years, you know? And
Well, well, the thing is, it's like uh, we can't have we can't allow companies
to
to
get
keep
away with
doing
it.
things like
Yeah.
this
You're,
over and over and over again, and then people are being okay with it, which is why I'm using my platform to tell people that it is okay to like something, but also talk about the issues of the things that you like, because it's only because you just want the best of what you enjoy. You know, like when you get your car and you have enough money to tune the car of how you dreamed it, aren't
mm-hmm,
you gonna do whatever you want to do to make sure that your baby or your husband or whatever you portray your car
mm-hmm.
as your best car that you envision? I think so.
I
It
mean,
gives you a broad
that's a
array
good point. And like I
of
said,
ideas.
it seems like because of the format of the videos, like that point, like this whole layer of thought was left out, you know. So it's
It's
like, you know, because
well, you're
I don't
right
get to watch
about
your streams most of the time because nowadays I'm in France, right? So it's like your streams come on when I'm already asleep most of the time, so I don't get to see the full like thought. You know what I mean? I just see the clips. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well,
like
you know,
that's probably what the issue is. Is like I see the clips, but I don't see the full, like, you know what I mean? The full thought.
yeah. Well, I'm just letting you know that I very, very think think not only outside of my perspective, but from a third point of view, from a broader audience, and from other perspectives that I may not understand.
Mhm.
And I don't just say stuff and don't have a big old Bible of why I said the things that I
Mhm.
say. I always have a big old glossary of everything that I try to
Mhm.
talk about
Got it.
uh, in general. And then also, like I said, is my goal is to make sure that people on YouTube are learning information that they need to improve in fighting games, to get the ambition to learn about fighting games, and not
Mhm.
be discouraged about video games that
But
are
but
pretty
ca-
intense
but can we
when it
talk
comes
about
to.
like how the whole clip meta or the YouTube meta nowadays is leading to a lot of those same viewers getting misinformation. Like they'll hear a soundbite, like how the way I heard it, and then they'll misconstrue it, and then they don't actually get the point of what it is. So, like for example, the whole like just 6p it, bro situation, right? You know, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like someone might say in this specific situation, you can 6p it, but then Twitter will misconstrue it and say in every situation you can 6p it, right? You know, like as a bigger influencer, how do you feel that you could probably tackle that in a better way? And like you said, everyone's got short attention spans. Like, is there is there like a form of content that you've been thinking about that you could like try to get these, I would say, high level FGC concepts into the minds of like 14-year-old kids picking up Stride for the first time, you know?
I mean, well, the thing is about it, as a 14-year-old, you don't really have thoughts like that. I mean, you're a
Mm-hmm.
14-year-old. Your goal is to have fun and find an environment that is fun and enjoy being a 14-year-old. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like trying to implement something like that without them asking for it is pretty heavy. You know, that's a
No,
lot
but
of
like,
responsibility.
is there a way you could like present it? Is there a way, like, basically what I'm asking is like, is there a way that we can like somehow, I would say, like, detoxify the community? Because I feel like a lot of creators are saying a lot of stuff and people are just kind of like running with it. But like, is there a way that like things can be clarified? You know what I mean?
No.
No.
No, because at the
Okay.
end of the day, you're gonna pick your favorite character, and
Yeah.
you're gonna listen to what your character says. That's that simple. You
Yeah.
know, hey, I like Kai, and then Kai tells me that 6P everything, then I'm probably going to 6P everything because Kai said it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how the person who follows X character. You know, like it's very hard to kind of just actually do that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's unfortunate that some people pick characters that be saying some wild stuff and disrespectful things and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people like that in this world, so they pick something that they like.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably some shape or form uh, them in a different shape or form. So it's not much you can really do.
Got it.
It's unfortunate that's how it is, but at the same time, is I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, then you're gonna have to do a lot of like engaging and like disrespectful things to a third point of view, like saying, for example, don't listen to that person. And I feel
Yeah,
like
you don't want to say stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to say stuff like that. I mean, people give me shit all the time, and I see people give me shit all the time, and it be what it be. Like everybody's gonna have their own opinion about me because, of course, they don't have an idea who I am, so they just gotta write a fiction book about me. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever book that they write about me, and that's who I am, then that's who I am. I can't change how they think. I can't change how they act, and I can't change how the way they process me from a clip. So
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
it be what it be.
That's the unfortunate side of the whole YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter situation is
I
that
mean,
people miss.
advertising, bro. I mean, like let me tell you this, bro. Like if I like you bought Strive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they told you, yo, roll back netcode, and you bought the game, and you're saying that the game was finished because of the online. But then when you take a step back and you look at the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a full product, and you started realizing that. So technically, you fell for the advertisement
Facts.
and the clickbait and saying that Strive was a great game because they finally got a game that has good netcode. But netcode doesn't make the game complete. Netcode should have been a thing
Years
15
ago.
years ago.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago. But you fell for that bait, did you? Yeah, it's okay. We all fucked up, bro. We all fucked up. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we gave him money, dog.
It's cool. Yeah, we gave them money. So you got to look at it from the grand scheme of things. When you want to sell something, you got to make it look good and make people motherfucker want to click. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. You got to work. You want people to learn what you're trying to tell them. It's that simple. I'm not baiting people, but I'm just giving them interested of what they want or what
Mhm.
somebody may want. It's
Got it.
that's just how the world works, man. I mean, how else are you gonna say that you're the best person selling lemonade in your block?
Yeah. Kizzy sermon.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna have to add all this to the FGC Bible, by the way. We're gonna have to add the book of Kizzy to the FGC Bible. So there you go. If you don't know, we have a meme on the channel called the FGC Bible. So like
Yeah.
yeah, so there you go. Anyway, very informative. Very informative. I really
Yeah. I
appreciate you
mean,
coming in and talking to me about it. You know, not necessarily face to face, but I definitely appreciate that. Like
Yep.
that's really cool, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say like last thing, your hopes for Strive. You know, I know you said you wanted it to be complete, but like where do you see the game? Let's go even further. 5 years from now, you know?
In a state like this, I don't think it's going to last 5 years. But
Mhm.
if they change it to the point where it feels a lot more like freedom of expression in terms of confirming, in terms of blocking, in terms of finesse. And like if every archetype is viable, I think the game will be great. But right now, the game solely focusing on damage and attacking, and not everybody play fighting games like that. So it's only catered to an audience just like that, and it's unfortunate that that's what uh, appealing to the casuals mean is making the game
I mean, that was the issue. That was the
casual.
issue MK had. Honestly, is that it
I mean,
appealed
that's
to
the issue
people
with
who
all
just
games,
want to
not even
just
UK.
want to press buttons. Like
Yeah,
it caters to people who just want to constantly press buttons. It's like when you're
and
trying to do footsies and spacing, and it's like you get hit with a guy
yeah,
just runs
so
up and does 6S and shit. It's like, bro, yeah,
so
I feel you.
it just makes me sad that they're changing the rules, they're changing the fundamental laws. They're if you like all these newer games, they're changing the laws of fundamentals.
Hmm.
It's so bluntly obvious, but it's to the naked eye. Somebody brought up a good point. They remove danger time, but when
Hmm.
you hit somebody, you're always at danger time.
Facts.
You know, everybody is like Slayer. So like everybody up close is like brawling, and like
Hmm.
anytime you're in that range, you're doing big damage. And the reason why I say Slayer, for example, because Slayer is always minus,
Hmm.
but minus to the point where if he reads that he's minus, then he gets a big old read damage,
Yeah,
and
big
that's
counter hit.
kind of like how every character is in this game, and how every frame data feels like. I understand that that's hype, but I feel like characters, the whole roster shouldn't be reserved uh, designed like that. I think certain characters being designed like that is cool. I
Yeah,
think I think Slayer design is cool. So why do we need 15 other Slayers? Like one Slayer is enough.
that is true.
But now they're like, well, we want to make it spectator friendly and stuff. And I was like, well, making it spectator friendly is just adding all of these multiple playstyle, but also making it understand what your tutorial
Understandable, yeah, to the
what's the
layperson, right?
tutorial mode? What's the tutorial mode, and also just like the word punished. Like people know what's punishable and
Mhm.
things like that. Like all of that stuff works, but why add all of that and then just like also be like, well, we don't want to add all these other things, but we want to add damage output extremely high, and it's just like, well, you know what's going to happen? Everybody's going to be playing a game, and then they're going to get so bored of the damage being high because they're just going to be seeing it over and over and over again. What makes things hype is seeing something that you
Is
never
the
seen
multiple
before,
chances, yeah. The
and
multiple chances
multiple
that
chances,
old
and
Guilty Gears
it's
used
just
to
that.
give you. Yeah.
Well, now every hit is an explosive chance, so it becomes unfun after 6, 7 months.
We were actually
Imagine,
having that
imagine,
conversation yesterday, actually, about
like
the fact that
imagine playing basketball. Imagine playing basketball, right? And you're in the NBA,
mhm.
and like you take the ball out, and you're already shooting for full court, and you score. Everybody's hyped, and then the other team is like, "Oh yeah, you doing that?" And then they pass the ball, and they shoot from full court, and they score. And then they shoot from school full court, and they score again. And now you're sitting here just throwing the ball in the air and just scoring from full screen, from full court. And then like people are not going to be excited by that anymore. People are going to be like, "Oh, he did it again. Oh, and yeah. Oh, bro, like what happened to like the post game? What happened to like? I mean, basketball's changing too. For
Yeah, the
example,
mid
like
game, yeah.
all the centers suck. Everybody shoot threes now. So everybody just run around, just throwing the ball in the air and just like, "Yep, shoot threes."
Yeah. I mean, it
Yep,
seems
it's
like
like it's like
I guess
three.
that
It's
goes
like
back to the attention span situation that we talked about earlier, right? Where the casuals have a short attention span. They just want to press buttons. They want to see big damage. Like it seems like fighting game developers are like, it's all cool that you guys want this interesting And Daisuke, I remember Lord Knight did a video where Daisuke was saying, like, it's all fine and good that you like all this complicated FGC stuff. But if we want to sell more games, and this is really what it comes down to, if we want to sell more games, we need to make the games easy, unfortunately.
No,
And
that's wrong, because what they could do is they could make a mode where casual audience could play and be in and not feel like that's the problem, is they're forced to play in the same environment that everybody else is. What's the point of making the game easier and then you make a floor system where it dictates like where your skill is, and then like you're playing at your skill level anyway. So you
yeah,
just made a problem absolutely no reason, because now the people who are, playing like in the casual, like they don't run against people who are better than them.
they just play on
Okay,
their floor,
so you
right?
fix yeah, so think about it. If Rev 2 had the floor system, people wouldn't be feeling so discouraged and people would actually enjoy Rev 2. But
Mm.
because rank match was like, oh, you're rank one, the other person rank one, but that rank one is a godlike person. He just never played rank match. And he
Mm-hmm.
smokes,
Yeah,
you
that was
know,
tough
like,
in Rev, especially when I got into Rev. That was tough. Fucking went up against
yeah,
Symmetron.
like,
First
yeah.
time online, I went up against fucking Symmetron 3000, dog, Johnny.
And also, like I said, like you could do things like, oh, interactive multiplayer mode, like where like you go around, you do like a like the fighting herds did a great job. It's like you
Mhm.
go on a lobby and then you go on these mines and you go like mine
Yeah,
hunting and you like fight the boss and stuff like that. Like they could do stuff like that and not make
interesting
the game
single
easy.
player modes like Alpha 3 on
Yeah,
PlayStation back
like
in the day.
co-op shit. Like they could do stuff like that. The problem is they're like what I feel what they're doing is they want people that they want that small percentage of people to feel like they have a chance of winning,
Yeah,
and it's gaslighting them. And it's just like it's so obvious that people are
it's
getting
making people
gaslighted
think
by
that
it.
they're nice when in reality they're being held. I talk about that all the time as well. It's like
Yeah,
a lot of
and
people in this
and
game
I
are
feel
being
like
handheld
at
by the
certain
game real hard.
Yeah,
You
and I
know.
feel like to a certain degree, it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't think it's wrong whatsoever. And I don't hate people who feel that way. But I also don't like that that's the way that they're trying to handle things, because what about the game in 2 years? Like you're thinking about the sales now, but what about 2 years? What about 3 years? Like,
Yeah, but that's where
you
companies are
want to,
at right now. They only care about sales right now. Like they're like, oh,
yeah,
we sold 500,000, 1,000,000 copies right now. Okay,
right,
you know, like
right, right, right.
next game.
And that's
You know.
and that's cool. But just to let you, just to know that I'm going to critique the little shit that you have in this game, and you're gonna have to accept that the fact that I am gonna say it, because that's the truth of the game. And I was like, yo, I like it. I like Strive. I think Strive is great. I talk about how much I do like the game, but I also
Mm.
talk about the dumb
The
stuff
issues,
that,
yeah, the issues of the
yeah,
game
there
as
is
well.
some great stuff, and I'm just like, that's not cool. And I'm just one of those type of people that are very vocal about things I like. I'm
Awesome.
very passionate about the things I enjoy. So if I enjoy this thing, and I'm just like, you guys are just like really shooting yourself in the foot, because at the craziest part is Rev 2 is actually getting a lot of
A lot of
attention.
attention now. Yeah,
Uh,
I've seen it as
yeah,
well.
because of Dragon Ball. It wasn't because the game was easy. It was because of Dragon Ball. People got into the Arxis game. Like honestly, if they wouldn't have touched like the quote unquote, making the game easier, quote unquote, if
Mm.
they wouldn't have touched that and they just made Rev 3, the game would have sold because of rollback.
Yeah,
Because that's what's being
I
promoted.
just want Stun Edge
Because
YRC back, dog. That's all I want.
because that's what's being promoted. Well, what made Guilty Gear sell was the graphics, because the
Hmm.
story, the graphics was like Western audience and rollback. Those are the only two things.
Hmm.
Those are the only two things that made the game sell. But because they had this weird idea that this was
Well,
it,
I don't think they had a
then
weird idea. I mean, Mortal Kombat did that, and it sold like fucking 10 million copies. So,
yeah.
I
But
mean,
the
they
thing
probably
is,
looked at that. It was like,
Mortal,
hey, let's
but
just do
that's the
that.
thing.
Because
Mortal Kombat
I'm sorry, go
Mortal
ahead.
Kombat's story was godlike. Like
Mortal
no one
Kombat's
talks
what?
about how godlike, dude. Mortal Kombat single player content is the
Yes,
best.
yes,
It's the
yes.
best fighting game single player content.
That is
Like
facts.
you got
But
story mode. My man,
but
you out here
mechanics
with boost
wise though,
mode.
but mechanics wise, when I did play Strive, like right after playing Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, I was like, bruh, they Mortal Kombat and Guilty Gear. Like, that's literally what they did. Like, it's the same shit. It's literally the same shit. Like, they dumbed it down, made it easy for people to just pick, you know, top whatever character, not know nothing, and just do a bunch of stuff. You know, it's the same stuff that we keep talking about, right? Same exact thing. And I was like, it really, and the reason why I've started to accept it, and maybe that's my problem, is that I started realizing that this is the way all games are going at this point. Like, this is just how they're making them now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And
it's getting worse. Like,
yeah,
because when you look at MK11, you got godlike story mode. You had the tower, like the
yep,
classic tower that they
yeah,
never took away.
the classic tower, the
You have so
survival
many
tower.
collectibles.
Yep,
You go to the crypt. You
yep,
know, you go to the crypt. You do all these like tutorial. The tutorial mode is actually one of the best tutorial modes
yep,
out there.
yep,
You got all of the single player content,
yep,
and it's like, yo, you don't even need to play online, and then you have the option to play online even if you want to, and you have a good net code
yep.
like that. Even though like
They definitely did that right, 100%.
yeah, they
Like,
did that right. You know what they did wrong was the limited moves and stuff like
yeah,
that. But that's the thing. If that didn't affect the people that were playing the game, it affected the people who wanted to compete in the
yeah,
game.
and take it
And
seriously.
that,
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. It's like, why limit that? Because that wasn't going to affect anybody. But
yeah. The
that,
casuals were playing casual and single player anyway. You could have gave
yeah,
us our
you know,
fucking anti-airs. You could have gave us actual neutral base footsies instead of
like
making
when,
like, yeah,
shooters do stuff like this where there's like rank match and it's like quick match, right?
mm-hmm.
And quick match is like, for people who just want to chill and play. Why not just make an online environment where it's for people who just want to kick back and just hit buttons and just play and da 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 da. And then there's another mode where you could just have all the competitive players that want to play and this and this and that. And then that will solve majority of the issues rather than taking away things. But
That's
the
true.
problem is this
I think
company.
developers are afraid of casuals getting scared off from rank mode. I think that's really what it is. But I really like Street Fighter V's rank mode, right? I think that's one of the best ranked modes there is because I think as far as like Street Fighter V, like they don't have the single player content, but I feel like their rank mode is really good, right? Because Street Fighter, like everyone plays, like it puts you in the skill level of your actual skill. You know what I mean? Like Mortal Kombat, if you didn't play for like 3 days, it would derank you, which I hated because like I would play for 2 or 3 days and I would do tournaments for like 4 days and I would come back and be a whole rank down. You know what I mean? That shit was like stupid, you know? But I feel
Yeah.
like having a lot of ranks like Tekken or Street Fighter 5 is really good. Because
I
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I personally think the tower system is actually the way is so good in so many ways. I mean, it's still not perfect because they definitely made it easy.
They made it easy to
So
pass through though. That's the
they made it
thing.
easy to pass, and that's what's going to kill everything because it's still going to hurt players that are learning. But the tower system where it puts you where your skill. What I thought it was gonna do, I thought it was gonna do like a true matchmaking shield where you go move to each tower, but they made it where anybody could just skip through like
Yeah,
tower
skip to any
15 and
tower,
stuff,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you can't even learn and then what that does is all it does is basically messes up everything and fuck up the food chain
Yeah.
because now people who are godlike is in floor 6 and they're actually from floor 10 and then they're beating people in floor 6 and then they get sent to floor 5 and because they got sent to floor 5 the floor 6 people are beating the floor 5s up and then
Hmm.
that floor 6 goes back to 7 and the 5 goes to 4
Yep.
and then now you're fucking the whole climate up
Yeah,
because
exactly.
of
Yeah.
that stupid little thing. So I think the tower system is actually ridiculous. I just think that it was
I like the
extremely
tower system. I just
lazy.
feel like it's
It was
too
so
easy. I
lazy.
agree.
It was so lazy, bro. It was like, oh, I could just look at it and just be like, oh, you guys just like mashed like 5 things, and it was like high five everybody. And it's just like
Like
I
I
understand.
feel like also at the same time it's a little bit too easy to get Celestial in my opinion, and I feel like there should be more towers above Celestial as well because the skill level in Celestial is just so high, like it's so varied Like you have brand new Celestials, mid range Celestials, super really good Celestials, and it's like I feel like there should be more. I think there should be like an even higher tier than Celestial, like Elite or some shit, you know, to kind of like filter that out as well. Like I feel like because like when I played rank, I literally got to Celestial in like 30 minutes. You know, I went from floor 6 to Celestial in 30 minutes. I was just like, bruh, is that it? Like I was expecting to actually like grind floors, you know? I wasn't expecting it to just like promote me like, oh, you won one match because you used a whole bunch of RC and super, promote. Oh, you watch this guy, promote. Oh, you watch this guy, promote. You know? It's like that's kind of like what it's like, right? It's not even really a rank system, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wanted it to be a balance for people, new and old, to feel like they're learning the game. And like, yeah, however, they are learning the game, and a lot of people are learning it. That's really good. But I know that some of them run into skill levels that it kind of like it's like, why are you here? Like
Yeah.
this is floor 9. This is floor 9, and you're like. You're in
Yeah.
floor. You're playing like a celestial. Like, why are you here? And that's
Yeah, that
because,
shit used to trigger
and
me,
that's
bro.
because, and
Like
that's because they were a person got knocked from celestial, and then they fought at floor 10, and they had to beat somebody up to get back to celestial, and that person who was godlike going to celestial went to floor 9, and
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that's the problem right there. That's how everything starts, and it sucks. But like I was saying, is like the idea is really really good. It's just like it's not polished enough, and I know why it's not polished enough. Is because he didn't have time to
It
do
ain't
it.
finished, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So like I said, this is Kizzie, guys. He came in, clarified his points. Do you have anything else you want to say before we move on to the next segment, Kizzie? Because this was extremely informative.
am I capping?
No.
Okay. All right. So now I can go to sleep acknowledge knowing that, I'm not talking out of my ass, And again, Vass, I feel bad for you. Sorry that you had to go through something like that. Like I said, some people are just not built to be able to talk to people, especially when they are very sensitive about anything that revolves them being questioned. It be what it be. Best thing I could say is just don't go around there. And just people like that just happen
Yeah,
to just
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 hang
happen,
out
they just
around
happen to be
streamers
like
that
that.
respect, you know?
You know, it's that's not much I can really say for that. I don't condone that, so I'm just letting you know that I don't condone that whatsoever. I I really don't. I'm not about that whatsoever. But I also am not his father, so I'm
Yeah,
not
you're not
going
gonna
to.
tell him what to do or whatever.
Yeah,
That's on
that's
him.
if
Yeah.
that's on them. Kudos to you, man. It be what it be. But yeah, I'm about to go to sleep.
All right. Have a good one, man. Thanks for coming
Later,
through.
later.
All right, well there you go, chat. That's what I'm talking about. Izzy came in like a G, clarified his position. That's what we talking about. It's some grown man shit, dog. Some grown man shit. Grown man shit. Not gonna lie, as a former publicist, Izzy did a great job. That was great. That was perfect. You know? That was perfect. As a publicist, from back in the day, I used to do this shit all the time. That was perfect. Very professional. Extremely professional. Well, young LZ, we something happened between Vash and Hotashi. I'm gonna probably post that on YouTube or whatever, or you can watch the VOD or whatever. But Kizzie came in the chat as we were covering that segment, and Kizzie also said that he has been hearing that I said he's been capping. So instead of it being a situation, Kizzie came into the Discord and clarified his position. He was probably talking off his phone, more than likely. It was more of a discussion. It wasn't really a debate. It was more of a discussion. Like Kizzie was not confrontational. He was not confrontational. There was no attitude about it. He just wanted to clarify his position.